All right, my friends, I'm on a tight timeline today. I have literally an hour and 10 minutes to read like 10 chapters. So we're gonna jump in pretty quick, whether people are here or not. But I don't even know if my video has had a chance to get shown at all, but I am extremely anxious this morning. My spirit is anxious. And I know that it is the enemy. Because I don't know if your feeds are full of this great homecoming from this weekend, but mine is. My feeds across all of my accounts are full of people that see the brokenness across the world and across our country from all of the things that have been happening over the last 2 weeks, and have just said, I have so many questions, and I think that Jesus might be the answer to them. I see that might be where the hope is. So people who have either never been to church or who haven't been to church in years, or who have never been to church for themselves and have only been, in the past because their families made them, showed up to church yesterday because they wanted to, because they desired to, because they had questions. And there are no coincidences in the kingdom, and I don't think that there's a coincidence that I started this last week. I don't think that there's a coincidence that I started this opportunity to create a space for people to come sit and listen to me read the word and read the word along with me. So as we got closer and closer to time for me to start today, my heart was palpitating. I am anxious. My spirit is anxious today. And I knew that it was the enemy. I knew it. But I was not going to let him win. I wasn't going to let him win regardless of how little time I have versus how much reading I have today. If we have to stop early, we have to stop early, and I'll hop back on later and we'll finish it if I have to. Because I only have until it's time for me to get my stuff and go to my shoot. And we have the time we have. But I'm not going to let that stop me from doing what I've committed to do. Because I believe that God is working in this. And I'm going to continue showing up and creating a space, whether I am alone and talking to a screen and just reading to myself and the Lord is ministering to my own spirit, or whether there are 150 people here and we have our own little revival. Because I'm going to honor what the Lord has stirred in my spirit to do. So, because I don't have a lot of time today, I am going to pray and we're going to get started. Heavenly Father, Lord, just sit in this space with us. Lord, my spirit is anxious, and I know that it is the enemy trying to distract and deter from what you are doing. Father, there are no coincidences in the kingdom, and as my feed is full of people that have made a decision over the last couple of days to seek you and buy Bibles and are asking questions about where do I start, what do I do, what do I need to do with this book. Father, I don't believe that there's a coincidence that you stirred my heart to start this last week. So Father, I pray that you would put me on their feet. That feels weird to ask. But Father, if you have something for those people here, then we invite them in and we welcome them. Father, we hold space for whatever you're going to do here. There is a great homecoming. In the midst of tragedy and heartbreak, there is a great homecoming. And I already see the fruit that you are working all of this for your good and for the good of those who are called according to your purpose. Father, I pray that everybody that pops in would be blessed, that your Spirit would speak to them, that they would know who you are, that you would reveal yourself to them, you would reveal your character to them in a new way today. We thank you and we praise you for all that you're going to do today and through the rest of this process. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, we have precisely 1 hour from this moment to get from Exodus 11 to Exodus 20. If we don't get there, when I get home from my shoot, I will see if I can hop back on. And we will pick up where we left off, because we are doing this. So, chapter 11, we are starting on the 10th plague. Good morning, read at 1.25 speed. Keep the chat chatting. I'm going to try to not pay attention to the chat, but try to keep the chat chatting or the likes going or something so that they don't time me out. Let me just, there we go, throw a couple likes myself. Keep the chat chatting if you can. Please and thank you. Maybe tap and share. Thank you, friends. All right, chapter 11. We're starting with the 10th plague. This one, we are starting with a doozy. We are starting Monday morning with a doozy. The Lord said to Moses, I will bring one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. After that, he will let you go on from here. When he lets you go, he will drive you out of here. Now announce to the people that both men and women should ask their neighbors for silver and gold items. The Lord gave the people favor with the Egyptians. In addition, Moses himself was very highly regarded in the land of Egypt by Pharaoh's officials and the people. So Moses said, this is what the Lord says. About midnight, I will go throughout Egypt. Every firstborn male in the land of Egypt will die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne to the firstborn of the servant girl who is at the grindstones, as well as every firstborn of the livestock. Then there will be a great cry of anguish through all the land of Egypt, such as never was before or ever will be again. But against all Israelites, whether people or animals, not even a dog will snarl. So that you may know that the Lord makes a distinction between Egypt and Israel. All these officials of yours will come down on me and bow before me, saying, get out, you and your people who follow you. After that, I will get out. And he went out from Pharaoh's presence fiercely angry. And the Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh will not listen to you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites out of his land. Chapter 12. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, this month is the beginning of the months. This month is the beginning of months for you. It is the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, they must each select an animal of the flock according to their father's families, one animal per family. If the household is too small for a whole animal, that person and the neighbor nearest his house are to select one based on the combined number of people. You should apportion the animal according to what each will eat. You must have an unblemished animal, a year-old male. You may take it from either sheep or the goats. You are to keep it until the 14th day of this month. Then the whole assembly of the community of Israel will slaughter the animals at twilight. They must take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts. Put it on the 2 doorposts and the lintel of the houses where they eat them. They are to eat the meat at night. They should eat it roasted over the fire along with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Do not eat any of it raw or uncooked or cooked in boiling water, but only roasted over fire. Its head, as well as its legs and inner organs. You must not leave any of it until morning. Any part of it left until morning, you must burn. Here is how you must eat it. You must be dressed for travel, your sandals on your feet and your staff in your hand. You are to eat it in a hurry. It is the Lord's Passover. I will pass through the land of Egypt on that night and strike every firstborn male in the land of Egypt, both people and animals. I am the Lord. I will execute judgments against all the gods of Egypt. The blood on the houses where you are staying will be a distinguishing mark for you. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. No plague will be among you or destroy you when I strike the land of Egypt. This day is to be a memorial for you, and you must celebrate it as a festival to the Lord. You are to celebrate it throughout your generations as a permanent statute. You must eat unleavened bread for 7 days. On the first day, you must remove yeast from your houses. Whoever eats what is leavened from the first day through the 7th day must be cut off from Israel. You are to hold a sacred assembly on the first day and another sacred assembly on the 7th day. No work may be done on those 7 days except for preparing what people need to eat. You may do only that. You are to observe the festival of unleavened bread because on this very day I brought your military divisions out of the land of Egypt. You must observe this day throughout the generations as a permanent statute. You are to eat unleavened bread in the first month from the evening of your 14th day of the month until the evening of the 21st day. Yeast must not be found in your houses for 7 days. If anyone eats something leavened, that person, whether resident alien or native of the land, must be cut off from the community of Israel. Do not eat anything leavened. Eat unleavened bread in all your homes. Okay. I'm going to try to English far. Water break. Verse 21. Then Moses summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go select an animal from the flock according to your families and slaughter the Passover animal. Take a cluster of hyssop, dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and brush the lintel and the 2 doorposts with some of the blood in the basin. None of you may go out the door of his house until morning. When the Lord passes through to strike Egypt and sees the blood on the lintel and the 2 doorposts, he will pass over the door and not let the destroyer enter your houses to strike you. Keep this command permanently as a statute before you and your descendants. When you enter the land that the Lord will give you, as he promised, you are to observe this ceremony. When your children ask you, what does the ceremony mean to you? You are to reply, it is the Passover sacrifice to the Lord, for he passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt when he struck the Egyptians, and he spared our homes. So the people knelt low and worshipped. Then the Israelites went and did this. They did just as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. Verse 29. Now at midnight the Lord struck every firstborn male of the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the prisoner who was in the dungeon, and every firstborn of the livestock. During the night Pharaoh got up, he along with all his officials and all the Egyptians, and there was loud wailing throughout Egypt because there wasn't a house without someone dead. He summoned Moses and Aaron during the night and said, "Get out immediately from among my people, both you and the Israelites, and go worship the Lord as you have said. Take even your flocks and your herds as you have asked and leave and also bless me." Now the Egyptians pressured the people in order to send them quickly out of the country, for they said, "We are all going to die." They could have gone 10 plagues ago. I'm just saying, they could have just let them go 10 plagues ago. But no. I'm kidding, there was a whole curse for all of that. We can get into that later. We're all going to die. Verse 34. So the people took up their dough before it was leavened with their kneading bowls, wrapped up their clothes, and wrapped up in their clothes on their shoulders. 35. The Israelites acted on Moses' word and asked the Egyptians for silver, gold items and for clothing. And the Lord gave the people such favor with the Egyptians that they gave him what they had requested. And this way they plundered the Egyptians. Fun fact, I don't know if you read chapters 1 through 10 yesterday, but if you didn't, or if you didn't catch it, there was the first call out about women funding God's work. There's the first call out about women funding God's work, and this is where it all happened. This is where it actually all came to fruition. I'm just a little bit of a Bible nerd, so let me have my moment. In one of the chapters, God told Moses and Aaron, he's like, "Hey, you're going to find favor with the Egyptians, and specifically the women are going to help you guys have silver and gold for your journey as you're fleeing Egypt." So if you didn't catch that happened, and this is okay. We're moving on. We don't have a ton of time today. Verse 37. The Israelites traveled from Ramses and Succoth. I could make puns about this. I really could. I'm not going to, but I could make puns about this. About 600,000 able-bodied men on foot besides their families. So this is only counting the men. But 600,000 men and their families are what were fleeing Egypt. Wow. A mixed crowd also went up with them, along with a huge number of livestock, both flocks and herds. The people baked the dough that they had brought out of Egypt into unleavened loaves, since they had no yeast. For when they were driven out of Egypt, they could not delay and had not prepared provisions for themselves. The time that the Israelites lived in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of the 430 years, on that same day, all the Lord's military divisions went out from the land of Egypt. It was a night vigil in honor of the Lord, because he would bring them out of the land of Egypt. This same night was in honor of the Lord, a night vigil for all the Israelites throughout their generations. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "This is the statute of the Passover. No foreigner may eat it. But any slave a man has purchased may eat it after you have circumcised him. A temporary resident or hired worker may not eat the Passover. It is to be eaten in one house. You may not take any of the meat outside the house. You may not break any of its bones. The whole community of Israel must celebrate it. If an alien resides among you and wants to observe the Lord's Passover, every male in his household must be circumcised, and then he may participate. He will become like a native of the land, but no uncircumcised person may eat it. The same law will apply to both the native and the alien who resides among you. Then all the Israelites did this. They did just as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron. On the same day, the Lord brought the Israelites out of the land of Egypt according to their military divisions. Whew. Chapter 13. The Lord spoke to Moses. Consecrate every firstborn male to me, the firstborn from every womb among the Israelites, both man and domestic animal is mine. Then Moses said to the people, remember this day when you came out of Egypt, out of the place of slavery, for the Lord brought you out of here by the strength of his hand. Nothing leavened may be eaten. Today, in the month of Abib, you are going out. When the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hittites, and Jebusites, which he swore to your ancestors that he would give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, you must carry out this ceremony in this month. For 7 days you must eat unleavened bread, and on the seventh day there is to be a festival to the Lord. Unleavened bread is to be eaten for those 7 days. Nothing leavened may be found among you, and no yeast may be found among you in all your territory. On that day explain to your son, this is because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. Let it serve as a sign for you on your hand and as a reminder on your forehead, so that the Lord's instruction may be in your mouth. For the Lord brought you out of Egypt with his strong hand. Keep this statute at its appointed time from year to year. When the Lord brings you into the land of Canaanites, as he swore to you and your ancestors, and gives it to you, you are to present to the Lord every firstborn male of the womb, all firstborn offspring of the livestock you own that are males will be the Lord's. You must redeem every firstborn of a donkey with a flock animal. But if you do not redeem it, break its neck. However, you must redeem every firstborn among your sons. In the future, when your son asks you, what does this mean? Say to him, by the strength of his hand, the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the place of slavery. When Pharaoh stubbornly refused to let us go, the Lord killed every firstborn male of the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of the humans and the firstborn of the livestock. That is why I sacrifice to the Lord all the firstborn of the womb that are males, but I redeem all the firstborn of my sons. So let it be a sign on your hand and a symbol on your forehead, for the Lord brought us out of Egypt by the strength of his hand. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them along the road to the land of the Philistines, even though it was nearby. For God said, the people will change their minds and return to Egypt if they face war. So he led the people around toward the Red Sea along the road of the wilderness. And the Israelites left the land of Egypt in battle formation. They left in battle formation. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear a solemn oath, saying, God will certainly come to your aid. Then you must take my bones with you from this place. They set out from Succoth and camped at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to lead them on their way during the day, and in a pillar of fire to give them light at night, so that they could travel day or night. The pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night never left its place in front of the people. Chapter 14. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, "Tell the Israelites to turn back and camp in front of..." Oh, we got a hard one. Pihahiroth. Between Magdal and the sea. You must camp in front of Baal Zephon, facing it by the sea. Pharaoh will say of the Israelites, "They are wandering around the land in confusion. The wilderness has boxed them in. I will harden Pharaoh's heart so that he will pursue them. Then I will receive glory by means of Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord." So the Israelites did this. What you doing, God? What you doing? Verse 5. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds about what the people had said. "What have we done? We have released Israel from serving us." So he got his chariot ready and took his troops with him. He took 600 of the best chariots and all the rest of the chariots of Egypt, with officers in each one. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and he pursued the Israelites who were going out defiantly. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, his horsemen, and his army, chased after them and caught up with them as they camped by the sea beside Pihahiroth, in front of Baal Zephon. My goodness. The names and the places. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians coming after them. The Israelites were terrified and cried out to the Lord for help. They said to Moses, "Is it because there are no graves in Egypt that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Isn't this what we told you in Egypt? Leave us alone so that we may serve the Egyptians. It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness." I'm sorry. Hold on. You literally have had a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Constantly. We've had this literal physical embodiment of God in cloud and fire constantly while you've been in the wilderness. And now we're questioning. You want to go back to Egypt? You want to go back to be a slave? Okay. It's fine. It's fine. This happened in the past. I can't change this. Thank you. Thank you, Gracie and Mom, for helping me reach my goal. Okay. Verse 13. But Moses said to the people, "Don't be afraid. Stand firm and see the Lord's salvation that he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you must be quiet." Shut your mouth and let God do what he's doing. Shut your mouth and let God do what he's trying to do. Me at me. Shut your mouth and let God do what he's trying to do. Hold on, I just... That was Exodus 14:14. Just in case somebody needed to write that down. The shut your mouth and let God do what he's trying to do verse. Exodus 14:14. Okay. Verse 15. The Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to break camp. As for you, lift up your staff, stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. As for me, I'm going to harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them, and I will receive glory by means of Pharaoh, all his army, his chariots, and horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I receive glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen." Sometimes these are a little repetitive, and I'm like, did I just read that line? No, I didn't. It's just a little repetitive. Okay. Don't mind me. Sometimes I pause just to make sure that I'm not doing the dyslexic thing, and I'm not rereading the same line over and over and over again, because that happens. Okay. Verse 19. When the angel of God, who was standing in front of the Israelite forces, moved and went behind them. So first he's in front of them. Now, I'm going to come back here. The army can't get you because now I'm behind you. And the army's behind you, so you shall not pass. Okay. Aggressive much. Angel of the Lord went and moved behind them. The pillar of cloud moved from in front of them and stood behind them. It came between the Egyptian and the Israelite forces. There was a cloud of darkness. It lit up the night, and neither group came near the other all night long. That's cool. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord drove the sea back with a powerful, vast wind all that night and turned the sea into dry land, so the waters were divided. And the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with the waters like a wall to them on their right and to their left. So the Egyptians set out in pursuit, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen, and went into the sea after them. During the morning, the Lord looked down at the Egyptian forces from the pillar of fire and cloud and threw the Egyptian forces into confusion. I have missed that. I have always missed this part. The Lord looked down at them and threw them into confusion. Hold on. Now I missed where I was. There, okay. Verse 25, he caused their chariot wheels to swerve. He made them drive with difficulty. Let's get away from Israel, the Egyptians said, because the Lord is fighting for them against Egypt. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the sea so that the water may come back on the Egyptians, on their chariots and horsemen. So Moses stretched out his hand over the sea at daybreak, and the sea returned to its normal depth. While the Egyptians were, I didn't miss this part. It was just the confusion part, just so everybody knows. But I came back and covered the chariots and horsemen, plus the entire army of Pharaoh that had gone after them into the sea, and none of them survived. No, sorry, not even one of them survived. Not even one. My goodness. But the Israelites had walked through on dry ground, with the waters like a wall to them on their right and their left. That day, the Lord saved Israel from the power of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Whew. Then Israel saw the great power that the Lord used against the Egyptians, and the people feared the Lord and believed in him and in his servant Moses. We're going to pause for a brief moment. Can you imagine? Okay. Can you imagine? In the time from Moses and Aaron, like, coming to the people and be like, hey, this is what God has said. And also God gave them like a handful of like signs and wonders to like show them like, hey, you know, like God has sent us and we're going to do this. And like, God's going to come against Pharaoh so that we can leave. Like, so first we saw that, like, I think that I would probably be pretty convinced. I like to think I'd be pretty convinced with just that. And then we have a series of 10 plagues, right? After that, because Pharaoh's heart kept getting hardened. But like, this is for me. Like, say I'm an Israelite. Like, this is for me. During the series of 10 plagues, I would feel like God is doing this on my behalf, right? So if that first handful of miracles hadn't been the thing, then surely the 10 plagues would be the things that make me go like, yeah, God is for me, and Moses and Aaron are like the mouthpiece of God right now. Surely, right? And then maybe if it wasn't that, then maybe it was like the pillar of cloud and fire that were constant as we were wandering the wilderness for a few days before the Egyptians like came and started chasing us. No? Okay. So then the Egyptians come, and it took walking through the Red Sea on dry ground, and then God like whoosh, like whoosh. I'm trying not to get in trouble here. So just whoosh to the Egyptians. Like that, it took all of that for them to be like, this God guy. This God guy, man. All right, this God guy and this Moses dude. All right, we're on board. We are officially on board. Okay. Now it's easy to say that when you're reading it and you're not living it. I can step back and say that. But also, my guys, my 600,000 Egyptian men, not counting women and children and livestock. Come on, my friends. All right, chapter 15. I need to hurry this up. Chapter 15. When Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord, they said, I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. He has thrown the horse and its rider into the sea. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will praise him, my father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is my warrior. The Lord is his name. He threw Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea. The elite of his officers were drowned in the Red Sea. The floods covered them. They sank into the depths like a stone. The Lord, your right hand is glorious in power. Lord, your right hand shattered the enemy. You overthrew your adversaries by your great majesty. You unleashed your burning wrath. It consumed them like stubble. The water heaped up like a blast from your nostrils. The current stood firm like a dam. The watery depths congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My desire will be gratified at their expense. I will draw my sword, my hand will destroy them, but you blew your breath, the sea covered them, and they sank like lead in mighty waters. Lord, who is like you among the gods? Who is like you, glorious in holiness, revered with praises, performing wonders. You stretched out your right hand, and the earth swallowed them. With your faithful love, you will lead the people. You have redeemed. You will guide them with your holy dwelling, with your strength, or to your holy dwelling with your strength. When the peoples hear, they will shudder. Anguish will seize the inhabitants of Philistia. Yes, Philistia. Then the chiefs of Edom will be terrified. Trembling will seize the leaders of Moab. All the inhabitants of Canaan will panic. Terror and dread will fall on them. They will be as still as stone because your powerful arm, until your people pass by, Lord, until the people whom you purchased pass by. You will bring them in and plant them on the mountain of your possession. Lord, you have prepared the place for your dwelling. Lord, your hands have established the sanctuary. The Lord will reign forever and ever. When Pharaoh's horses with his chariots and horsemen went into the sea, the Lord brought the water over the sea. The Lord brought the water of the sea back over them, but the Israelites walked through on dry ground. When the prophetess Miriam, Aaron's sister, took a tambourine, then the prophetess Miriam, Aaron's sister, took a tambourine in her hand, and all the women came out following her with tambourines and dancing. Miriam sang to them, "Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. He has thrown the horse and the rider into the sea." Then the Lord, we're going too fast. Then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea. They went out to the wilderness of Shur. They journeyed for 3 days in the wilderness without finding water. They came to Marah, but they could not drink the water at Marah because it was bitter. That's why it was named Marah. The people grumbled to Moses, "What are we going to drink?" So he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. Then he threw it into the water, and the water became drinkable. The Lord made a statute, an ordinance for them at Marah. He tested them there. He said, "If you will carefully obey the Lord your God, do what is right in his sight, pay attention to his commands, and keep all his statutes, I will not inflict any illnesses on you that I inflicted on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you." Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 springs and 70 date palms, and they encamped there by the water. Verse 16. Not verse, chapter 16. The entire Israelite community departed from Elim and came to the wilderness of Sin. Is that foreshadowing? Is that foreshadowing? We're going to find out. Which is between Elim and Sinai. On the 15th day of the 2nd month after they had left the land of Egypt, the entire Israelite community grumbled against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. The Israelites said to them, "If only we had died by the Lord's hand in the land of Egypt, when we sat by pots of meat and ate all the bread we wanted. Instead, you brought us into this wilderness to make this whole assembly die of hunger." My goodness. Want to go back to being a slave in Egypt? Verse 4. Then the Lord said to Moses, I am going to rain bread from heaven for you. The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. This way I will test them to see whether or not they will follow my instructions. On the 6th day, when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather on other days. So Moses and Aaron said to all the Israelites, this evening you will know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, and in the morning you will see the Lord's glory, because he has heard your complaints about him. For who are we that you complain about us? Moses continued, the Lord will give you meat to eat this evening and all the bread you want in the morning, for he has heard the complaints that you are raising against him. Who are we? Your complaints are not against us, but against the Lord. Moses said to Aaron, say to the entire Israelite community, come before the Lord, for he has heard your complaints. As Aaron was speaking for the entire Israelite community, to the entire Israelite community, they turned towards the wilderness, and there in a cloud the Lord's glory appeared. The Lord spoke to Moses, I have heard the complaints of the Israelites. Tell them, at twilight you will eat meat, and in the morning you will eat bread until you are full. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God. So at evening, quail came and covered the camp. In the morning, there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the layer of dew evaporated, there were fine flakes on the desert surface, as fine as frost on the ground. When the Israelites saw it, they asked one another, what is it? Because they did not know what it was. Moses said to them, it is the bread the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord has commanded. Go, gather as much of it as each person needs to eat. You may take 2 quarts per individual, according to the number of people each of you has in his tent. So the Israelites did this. Some gathered a lot, some a little. When they measured it by quarts, the person who gathered a lot, had no surplus, and the person who gathered a little had no shortage. Each gathered as much as he needed to eat. Okay. Moses said to them, no one is to let any of it remain until the morning. But they didn't listen to Moses. Some people left part of it until the morning. It bred worms and stank. Therefore Moses was angry with them. They gathered it every morning. Each gathered as much as he needed to eat, but when the sun grew hot, it melted. On the 6th day, they gathered twice as much food, 4 quarts apiece. And all the leaders of the community came and reported this to Moses. He told them, this is what the Lord said. Tomorrow is the day of complete rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you want to bake and boil what you want to boil, and set aside everything left over to be kept until morning. So they set it aside until morning, as Moses commanded. And it didn't stink or have maggots in it. Eat it today, Moses said, because today is a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you won't find any in the field. For 6 days you will gather it, and on the 7th day, the Sabbath, there will be none. Yet on the 7th day, some of the people went out to gather, but they did not find any. And then the Lord told Moses, how long will you refuse to keep my commands and instructions? Understand that the Lord has given you a Sabbath. Therefore, on the 6th day, he will give you 2 days' worth of bread. Each of you stay where you are. No one is to leave this place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. The house of Israel named the substance manna. It resembled coriander seed was white, and it tasted like wafers made with honey. Moses said, "This is what the Lord commanded. 2 quarts of it are to be preserved throughout your generations, so that they may see the bread I fed you in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt." Moses told Aaron, "Take a container and put 2 quarts of manna in it and place it before the Lord to be preserved throughout your generations." And as the Lord commanded Moses, Aaron placed it before the testimony to be preserved. The Israelites ate the manna for 40 years until they came to an inhabited land. They ate the manna until they reached the border of the land of Canaan. They used a measure called an omer, which held 2 quarts. Chapter 17. The entire Israelite community left the wilderness of Sin, moving from one place to the next according to the Lord's command. They camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. So the people complained to Moses, "Give me water to drink." "Why are you complaining to me?" Moses replied to them. "Why are you testing the Lord?" But the people thirsted for water and grumbled against Moses. They said, "Why did you bring us up from Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" And Moses cried out to the Lord, "What should I do with these people? In a little while they will stone me." Then the Lord answered Moses, "Go on ahead of the people and take some of the elders of Israel with you. Take the staff you struck the Nile with in your hand and go. I am going to stand there in front of you on the rock at Horeb. When you hit the rock, water will come out of it, and the people will drink." Moses did this in the sight of the elders of Israel. He named the place Massa and Meribah because the Israelites complained and because they tested the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" At Rephidim, Amalek came and fought against Israel. Moses said to Joshua, "Select some men to go for us and fight against Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand at the hilltop with God's staff in my hand." Joshua did as Moses told him and fought against Amalek, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the hill. While Moses held up his hands, Israel prevailed, but whether he put his hand down, Amalek prevailed. When Moses' hands grew heavy, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat down. Then Aaron and Hur supported his hands, one on one side and one on the other, and his hands remained steady until the sun went down. So Joshua defeated Amalek and his army with the sword. The Lord said to Moses, "Write this down on a scroll as a reminder and recite it to Joshua. I will completely blot out the memory of Amalek under heaven." And Moses built an altar and named it, "The Lord is my banner." He said, "Indeed, my hand is lifted up toward the Lord's throne. The Lord will be at war with Amalek from generation to generation." "100%. We definitely do the same thing. Anytime I read through Exodus and I'm reading the Israelites' time in the wilderness, I'm constantly frustrated. I'm like, "Why are you doing this?" And I'm like, "Why are you doing this, Alana? Why are you doing this?" Because you probably do the same thing. You probably did the same thing as me. Definitely doing the same thing. That's what I mean. But quick call out. I really don't have time for a call out, but I'm doing a quick call out. I love this really brief chapter 17 with this super brief battle scene. It is a testament to who we surround ourselves with. And okay. When Moses' hands were lifted. Joshua's army was prevailing against Amalek's army. When Moses' arms got tired, my arms are already getting tired from that couple of seconds being up, right? When his arms started to get weary and his hands started to fall, Amalek's army started to prevail against Joshua's army, right? But because Moses had some good friends, he had some good people surrounding him to lift him up and hold him up. To hold him up. Joshua's army prevailed. It matters who you surround yourself with. It's my quick little call out. So, like that, what are we doing to lift the hands of the man of God? That's also another good call out. Like, for yourself, it matters who you surround yourself with, but also, how are you lifting? What are you doing to lift the hands of the man of God? Your pastors, your leaders, people around you, how are you lifting them up? Because especially right now with everything going on, people are watching how they're responding. And if people don't respond how they want them to, they're getting a lot of hate. A lot of mean things are being said. And I don't know if you know this, but the rates of pastors and church leaders are exorbitantly high. Exorbitantly. Like, don't Google it because it will wreck your life. Like, it will wreck your heart. So just lift up your leaders. Lift them up. Okay. I have 10 minutes. I had 10 minutes and 3 chapters. Okay. Probably can't get through them all. But we're gonna go. We're gonna go. Okay. Chapter 18. Moses' father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, heard about everything God had done for Moses and for God's people Israel when the Lord brought Israel out of Egypt. Now Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, had taken in Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her back, along with her 2 sons, one of whom was named Gershom, because Moses has said, I have been a resident alien in a foreign land, and the other Eleazar, because he had said, the God of my father was my helper and rescued me from Pharaoh's sword. Moses' father-in-law Jethro, along with Moses' wife and sons, came to him in the wilderness, where he was camped at the mountain of God. He sent word to Moses, I, your father-in-law Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons. So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, bowed down, and then kissed him. They asked each other how they had been, and then went into the tent. Moses recounted to his father-in-law all that the Lord had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardships that had confronted them on the way, and how the Lord had rescued them. Jethro rejoiced over all the good things the Lord had done for Israel when he rescued them from the power of the Egyptians. Blessed be the Lord, Jethro exclaimed, who rescued you from the power of Egypt and from the power of Pharaoh. He has rescued the people from under the power of Egypt. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods, because he did wonders when the Egyptians acted arrogantly against Israel. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to God, and Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to get a meal with Moses' father-in-law in God's presence. The next day, Moses sat down to judge the people, and they stood around Moses from morning to evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw everything he was doing for them, he asked, "What is this you're doing for the people? Why are you sitting as a judge while all the people stand around you from morning until evening?" Moses replied to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to inquire of God, whenever they have a dispute, it comes to me and I make a decision between one man and another. I teach them God's statutes and laws." "What you're doing is not good," Moses' father-in-law said to him. "You will certainly wear out both yourself and these people who are with you, because the task is too heavy for you. You can't do it alone. Now listen to me. I will give you some advice, and God be with you. You will be the one to represent the people before God and bring their cases to him. Instruct them about the statutes and laws and teach them the way to live and what they must do. But you should select from the people able men, God-fearing, trustworthy, and hating dishonest profit. Place them over the people as commanders of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. They should judge the people at all times. Then they can bring you every major case, but can judge every minor case themselves. In this way, you will lighten your load and they can bear it with you. If you do this, and God so directs you..." Well, I do not want my live to end in 5 minutes. Thank you. Oh no, I don't. Oh no, I think I accidentally invited somebody to join my live. Oh no, I did not. Who did I invite? Oh no, I think I accidentally invited somebody. I don't know what happened. I was just trying to do my puzzle piece so that the live didn't end. I don't know what's happening. No, but there's like, it pops up that like I can invite people that are like other people that are online that are not in the live. It's weird. I didn't mean to invite anybody. I'm so sorry. What is happening? Okay. Okay, we're just going. I don't have time for that. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to finish this chapter really quick and then we're going to bounce out. Okay. Where was I? And this way you can lighten your load and they can bear it with you. If you do this and God so directs you, you will be able to endure, and also all these people will be able to go home satisfied. Moses listened to his father-in-law and did everything he said. So Moses chose able men from all Israel and made them leaders over the people as commanders of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. They judged the people at all times. They would bring the hard cases to Moses, but they would judge every minor case themselves. Moses let his father-in-law go and he journeyed to his own land. Okay. I definitely don't have time to read the last 2 chapters before I need to go. So if I can make it happen after I get back from my shoot, I will pop back on later and read the last 2 chapters. We have 19 and 20 left. But I do have to, I have a shoot at 1 o'clock and I have to get my stuff together. So I also need to honor that. So thanks for hanging out with me, Mom. And we did have a few other people that popped in. So I did start uploading the recordings to YouTube last night, and I will post more information about that later. But hopefully later this afternoon, you guys will catch me for the last 2 chapters. If not, read chapter 19 and 20. It shouldn't take that long. Okay. Thank you guys. Love you so much. Bye.